Welcome to the Digital Pathfinders podcast, where we guide professionals through career transitions, content creation, and building new income streams online. I'm your co-host, Antonio, joined by my fellow co-host, Danny. How's it going, Danny?
It's going good. It's going good, man. Super excited. The holidays are coming up. I'm sure that everybody's busy. What craziness, right? Like end of the year, Christmas, New Year's, all the preparations. My family and I are getting ready to go to New York. So a lot of craziness going on over there. And I know in Colombia you have, uh, Dia de Velitas, the Candles Day, which is huge out there. You have the celebration of leading up to Christmas, New Year's, and Carnaval. You guys have the second largest celebration in the world, and leading up into 40 days before Easter, right? Like Mardi Gras. But really, Barranquilla starts celebrating it December. You know, yeah.
Colombians love their holidays, and it's amazing. They've really adopted Halloween, for example. So it's almost like the end of the year celebrations kind of kick it off with Halloween. And you have obviously Dia de los Muertos in Mexico, but here in Colombia, they've really latched on to holidays like Valentine's Day, which they actually celebrate in September. And
Yeah.
then, for Halloween, they go all out. I mean, teams in offices, they compete, they decorate the office, they have these competitions. Everyone gets dressed up from the CEO on down to the
Yeah.
janitor and staff like that. And then with Christmas, it's like the US. I'm not sure when they start really promoting Christmas. If it's even before Thanksgiving, I would imagine, yes. But here, my girlfriend insisted on putting up the Christmas tree. I think we put it up literally the first weekend of November. So that's been up for a long time. And yeah, the festivities in Colombia are just amazing.
Yeah, I think Radio Olímpica, which is a big radio station out there, starts announcing. It almost feels like December in like late September, early October. And another thing, Colombia, if I remember correctly, has the most amount of national holidays for any country in the world. So, and they take pride in that. They take pride in that. So, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
they really do it. And in fact, going back to the earlier comments when we were talking about doing this virtual coordination of this photo shoot or video shoot we're doing for Nas Company, where in New York, the city that never sleeps, you can get things done on a Sunday, whereas in Colombia, Sunday is like the sacred day. Most people have it off and they're at home, they're chilling, spending time with their family, etc. So that's really the big difference is that Colombians they work to live as opposed to living to work. And I think that's really the biggest difference.
I had to get used to that because even on a Monday, it could be hard to get things done out there. A lot of places have that 2 hour lunch break. And here in the United States, I am constantly moving forward. I'm constantly trying to do something. I have to stay busy for some reason. It's ingrained in me. And over there, it's the opposite, like you said. Leisure time, relaxation with your family, with friends, really leads in priorities for for the Colombian culture. At least it's been my experience. My wife is from Barranquilla, where you live, and I think that the costeño culture there in Barranquilla is a very relaxed, very laid back, very happy. Recochón le dicen, just what a great culture. And it took me, whenever I get out there, it takes me 2 or 3 days just to settle into that pace, right? And people are like, "Hey, calm down, just enjoy." Yeah, yeah,
As an American through and through, I mean, I've been out of the U.S. living, working professionally for over 14 years at this point, going on to really my second decade outside of the U.S. But there are certain things I probably will never relinquish. One is just this notion of concept of time, right? I pride myself on being on time, being punctual, etc. And so I've learned to adjust certain things. So, for example, if you have dinner at 8, for the most part, that's when you leave your house at 8, right? Unless you have a particular reservation in a hard to get to restaurant, etc. But for the most part, like you have plans at 9 o'clock. That's when you leave your house. Is at 9 o'clock. That's not when you meet.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
things of that nature. But yeah, it's like the slow
And
pace, going to the grocery store, waiting in line for no reason, or you see a waiter who in New York City, one waiter could literally handle the entire restaurant in Barranquilla, but they've got a staff of 10 that are super slow. So there's some adjustment there,
you
but
got to call them over to your table if you need
yeah,
anything, right?
exactly. Whereas in
And
Manhattan, they come over, they hand you the check, they're wiping on the table, they're like basically telling you to leave
yeah,
immediately.
no, going out to dinner out there where you're at, that's what you do for an afternoon, evening, even. I've been at a restaurant 3, 4, 5 hours, appetizers, food, drinks, and nobody's in a rush to get out of there. And the other thing is the word ahorita, right? In English is now, but ahorita could be now, later, in a bit. I'm
Yeah,
not going to do it at all. So
100%.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's definitely takes a lot to get used to, especially when you come from the hustle and bustle of New York or L.A.,
Well,
San
speaking of New
Francisco.
York, Danny, you're going to New York.
I
You're actually
am.
going to be surprising your daughter and in her trip experience for her school. But what are you looking to do out in New York, Danny?
You know, I want to do all the typical New York tourist things, right? My daughter's 8. I want to go skating at Rockefeller. I want to see the ball drop. I want to take her to Macy's with all the Christmas decorations.
Did they have a
Times
parade?
Square.
They have a parade, I
What
think, don't
the?
they?
The parade that they
Is
have
that
is for Thanksgiving. New Year's
Thanksgiving?
is in Pasadena, here in California, where I'm from. So that's like priority number one. I really want to get into the culture of New York out there. There's a vibrant Colombian culture out there, Latino culture. So I really want to go out there
How many
and
total
do
days will
all
you
of
be
that.
out there?
So my wife and my daughter are going to be out there for 3 weeks, and I'm going to be out there for 10 days. Yeah, and my
Wow.
mother-in-law lives out there in Queens, so we have a place to stay
Oh,
and
are you staying
kind
with
of
her?
yeah, yeah. So she knows the lay of the land.
Where
She's
in
been out
Queens?
Jamaica, Queens.
Jamaica,
That's where she's from.
Queens.
Yeah.
Jamaica, Queens.
So yeah, yeah. So and her husband is not native New Yorker, but he's been there for decades. So really, we're whatever they want to do, and as long as I get to have fun with my daughter. And the other thing is that I want to take as much video as I can in order to have B-roll, and in order to have some content to put for myself out there. I just bought more equipment, and so I'm really looking forward to getting back with a ton of video. Really start putting out some great content. Not that we're not doing great content now, but I think that what an opportunity to be in New York for the holidays. I would be a fool not to take advantage of the whole
Well,
thing
you
out
can get
there.
some great B-roll footage, especially for the
Yeah,
type of videos you want to do. I think when you're talking about, New York as a business hub, the hustle and bustle, the commerce, the seeing the liveliness of the city and things of that nature, I think you have a plethora of potential B-roll opportunities. So just record as much content as possible, and you'll be amazed that you can use it months, weeks later, and it's still very relevant.
yeah. And how crazy is it that now, in such a short time into this content creation strategy, to this digital format for that my career is taking, that I'm going to New York, and yes, family number one. But like right in there, I'm like, I have to create content when I'm out there.
Mhm.
This is a once in a lifetime opportunity to really go out there and create as much stock footage that I'm going to be able to turn into things that'll push my career forward. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
This whole notion of being able to be involved in a creator economy is
Mhm.
really one of the things that I wanted to talk about today. You've been doing this for a while. You've been out there, you said almost 15 years. Um, the whole transition for me has been really, really quick. Uh, what is your take on where the creator economy was at when you first started a few years ago, and what's the current state of the creator economy that we're in right now, and where's it going?
Well, I remember when I spoke with Nusaria Sin the day he called me to welcome me to the Creator Accelerator program, and he asked about my experience, and I was very proud to say, "Hey, I'm certified by the Digital Marketing Institute. I'm both certified in digital marketing and in social media." He's like, "Oh, that's great," but he's like, "When was that?" I was like, "Well, that was in 2019." He's like, "Well, things have changed over the past 3 years," and I definitely agreed with that. So I think even over the past 5 years, we look back to what we were doing 5 years ago versus today. I even get the sense that the term digital marketing to me sounds antiquated in the terminology.
Hmm.
Not always, but just the
How
notion of
so? How so?
everybody's talking about content. Everybody's talking about these creative agencies, e-commerce, e-com, and things of that nature. But the actual notion of digital marketing, it's almost like video content has just taken over. Everybody's a talking head. Everybody's a content creator. And people just this shift from being an influencer to a creator, right? I was watching on TikTok this woman talking about trends to look out for in 2025, and it talks about this notion that we're not going to be relying on the influencer anymore. We're going to be relying on people that have communities. And so I think when we look at Nas specifically, Nas has been around since 2016, I
16?
believe.
16, yeah.
And so in 8 years, it's gone from a one man show, Nusair Sin, using his own creative genius with a camera as a one person show, to now having multiple pillars. And so I think when it comes to being a creatorpreneur or working in the creator economy, you really have to carve out your niche. What do you want to do? Do you want to be a freelancer? Do you want to work for an organization that has an opportunity to work remotely, like I am now with Nas Company? Or do you want to just dabble in it, have a little side hustle, and so forth? But there really is a whole plethora of opportunities to work in the creator economy, whether that's as a ghostwriter, whether that's as an editor behind the scenes, whether it's doing podcasting, whether it's doing
Yeah,
a wide variety of activities to generate income,
yeah, yeah.
UGC videos. And so it continues to evolve. And the pace that we're seeing that change is really mind boggling, especially now with artificial intelligence in the picture.
Right, right. One of the things that I think that I want to chime in on that you didn't mention is that you don't need to be a content creator or a digital marketer or an influencer, right? I think that a lot of people out there are dismissing what we're talking about altogether. But I can't think of any career or job that couldn't be enhanced by a better online presence,
Hmm.
by stronger digital marketing, by more social media engagement. So there's people out there that are lawyers and realtors and doctors that this isn't going to resonate with them initially because they're going to say, "Hey, I'm not an influencer. I make my money banking. I make my money in investing people's money." But I want to stress to anybody out there that has a successful career that the state that we're in right now is going to keep evolving at an ever faster pace. If we stop and we look at, I mean, I don't want to date myself, but MySpace, right? Where we were at in MySpace. And the first time that I logged onto Facebook, creating an account, to where we're at right now, it is leaps and bounds. And I have a feeling, especially now, like you pointed out, that with artificial intelligence, that the pace of uh, regular careers, offline careers, the pace that they're going to start transitioning more and more and more into the digital realm is just going to be faster and faster and faster. I We had a meeting at home next home. I'm the director of marketing here. This week, somebody closed one of the biggest, I think the biggest sale that the company has ever had in its existence. And one of the things that the president of the company said, he pointed out, he goes, "Hey, listen, We have we have Danny here, and he is just dedicated to this. We are not going to let our foot off the gas with digital creation, with content creation, because everybody's talking about it. Hardly anybody is doing it. And the people that are doing it, even if they're not doing it um, great, if they're not doing it consistently, they're doing good. And the people that are putting out great content, you know, two, three pieces of content every single day, they're the people leading the industry. Here locally, there's a couple of people that are just putting professional grade videos out there 3, 4, 5 times a day. They're live streaming, they're engaging with their audience, and they're absolutely killing it. This dude, Jose Montes, he is doing like 200 transactions this year. And most people are doing 5, 6, 7, 10 maybe. So to be at a level that he is, you need to have everybody know who you are. And
How is his personal branding? Has he done a good job with that?
oh yeah, yeah. So in the beginning of his videos, it's like Nas. The first few videos, he's holding a phone, he's running around. But as he developed and as he gained more success, now he has a whole team that does all his social media. I'm imagining that he's probably shooting 3 or 4 days out of the month in order to have that much content because
As a
he puts
result of
out.
working with you, or this was something he had
No, no,
started on his own?
this is something that he's been doing probably since 2016. I want to say 15. And
Okay.
he's a young guy. He's a young guy.
Oh,
He's
but
probably in his mid.
he's built his own personal brand though, and you're saying that is the driving force for him to be able to do 200 transactions in a year when the average real estate person is doing one every other month.
Right, right, right. I think that I don't know if that's 100% what where all his business is coming from, but I'd like to say that the bulk, the majority of his business comes from content
Well, it's
creation and
almost like
doing
a
that. Yeah,
case study, right? And I think that would be a great opportunity for you, Danny, is to really show your flex on, what a successful individual this person has been as a direct result of building a personal brand in this particular space. Because to your earlier comments, you're saying most people in real estate may not take personal branding as serious as they should or as they need to, particularly the older generation, if you will, people that are 40 and
yeah.
above. And I'm not sure how old this individual is, but it's just a clear case that this guy is absolutely slaying it because
Mhm.
certainly a big portion of that is his personal branding. He's out there, he's visible, his face is out there, his brand is out there versus, references and more behind the scenes traditional media approaches. And so I'd like to see something like that.
Yeah, and the president of the company goes, "Hey, this digital arm of our this digital content creation, this social media push is not something that we're doing right now. This is something that we're going to do, and we're going to sustain this momentum." And he talked really really well. I feel like I got some job security. So
So
yeah,
that was
yeah.
going to say, so it sounds like he's changing his opinion a little bit because he was initially a little bit kind of, hey, we're not seeing the results as immediately as I expect to now. What do you think has been driving his sort of changing point of view?
Everybody in the industry is talking about social media. Everybody in the industry is talking about putting as much content out there to drive your name in the community, to build your brand. And the proof is in the pudding. There's people out there that are doing this at a very very high level, that and those are the people that are doing extremely extremely well. My boss Gabriel, he is really well known in the community. Really, a lot of his business comes from word of mouth, and he does radio and TV and print advertising, and he's been doing that for years. But what he says is, I'm not selling anything when I'm on the radio or TV. I just want people not to forget me. I want to be top of mind when they come out and they're ready to do refinancing or buy or sell a home.
Yeah, he has a larger than life personality. He's
He
very sort
does.
of
He does.
gregarious. He's very astute and knowledgeable. But I think for the community, the Hispanic community in particular, I'm not sure who he caters to specifically.
85% of the people that he caters to, Spanish speaking,
Right, that was my
primarily Spanish
point. That was
speaking.
my
Yeah.
point. Is that he's like this guru in his niche, right? He's a guy that people can look up to, people can relate to. I'm not sure what his personal background is, his origin story, if you will,
Mhm.
but people buy from people. They don't buy from brands. And so the more you
Right.
can get a guy like Gabriel who's got the gift of gab, who's got the gift of storytelling out there, and project that for his brand, that's only going to bring in sales. It's going to bring in a lot of positive goodwill and benefits to the organization.
And talking about that, I wanted to touch base with you since you got more experience. I've been doing this for a few months now. I think I've been in this role for about 6 months, and I'm constantly hitting writer's block. I'm constantly trying to figure out what the next new thing to do. I was putting out 3, 4 pieces of content every single day for him. Right now, I'm about one or two, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm experiencing this thought of like, how can I make this sustainable? How can I avoid burnout? And how can I grow my own presence in this field of digital marketing as a marketing director for this company? I know that you've been doing this for consistently for a few years now, and sometimes I see you even before you started working with Nas. 3, 4 pieces of content every single day. How do you keep that momentum? How do you build that momentum? How do you avoid burnout? How do you grow your presence online?
Well, I'll tell you this. Since I have been working this past month with Nas Company, and the hours have been, I would say, a little bit excessive, more so because I'm placing the burden on myself to ramp up and get as much experience as quickly as possible. But there's no excuse. You really have to continue to put your brand out there. And I saw this tweet recently. I'm not even sure what they're called now. Now that Twitter is known as X, but I follow this guy,
Right.
Dakota Robertson. He is a guy who's not even 30 years old. I think he was a high school dropout, was a former pizza delivery guy. He found his love of writing, and he does ghost writing now, very successful at doing it. He's grown a very large audience on Twitter, on X, on LinkedIn, and other places as well. And he talked about this notion of this imposter syndrome. He's like, if
Hmm.
you do not have imposter syndrome, you're not pushing yourself enough. He's like, you really always want to feel like this notion of having imposter syndrome because that lets you know you're pushing your boundaries and trying new things. So that really resonated with me. And the reason I mention it is because, to your point, yeah, I was doing more content previously. And then I listened to people like Courtney Johnson, who has like this notion of what are your 5 imperatives to do on a daily basis. And for her, one of the biggest things she always did for 1 year was to post on LinkedIn, doing one post on LinkedIn per day, predominantly video. And so just earlier today, I was watching this woman doing off the cuff type of videos. And I just know that's what I need to do. I don't have time to do the full on production. I've got this beautiful setup here. I just need to hit record and put it out there, right? I can
It's
always
so hard for
improve.
me. It's so hard for me to push
I,
record.
I can always enhance the production value. I can always hire an
Mhm.
editor, but it's better to err on the side of getting something published because that sensation of hitting record and publishing, there's nothing better than that from a content creator perspective. And so I did one piece of content this past week, talking about this notion of the staircase type of post where you have
Yeah, yeah.
text that starts out small, like the length of the sentence, and each subsequent sentence gets a little bit longer so that it looks like a staircase.
Mhm.
And so there's really so many ways to be creative. It's not always about doing video content, et cetera, having a script and being full on production. People want these quick hits. For example, I published, I reposted a video from the CEO of UGC Ninja. I used to do a lot of UGC videos for this company. He put together this 14-second clip talking about the Think Different campaign by Apple. And it just really hit me because it was so impactful. It was only 14 seconds long. And that's what really spawned me to do my video last week on the Diablitos brand of deviled ham in Venezuela, looking to that story behind the brand. And so that's really one thing I've been kind of thinking in my mind of what I want to do. And I think it's when you have the content ideas, the content flows. And I know recalling my brother's approach, it's like this notion of having a vault, a story vault, where you're constantly putting in these stories into your vault. So you have something to go
Mm.
back to, right? Because when you just, you get to sit down and you have like writer's block, you've got a blank sheet of paper, it can be a little bit difficult to be creative. But when you have
So,
this vault of ideas, then you can go back to.
is that what you do to stay creative and be productive? Life happens. There's all these challenges that always get in the way of my finger push and record. Is that one of the processes that you use to stay creative and get over that the
Well,
distance between my finger and the record button is so big sometimes.
I think what it comes down to is when I have like an agenda, for example, with this 10-day producer challenge. I
Mhm.
got the idea. I was like, I'm going to do a video that talks about every single day of this challenge. And I did it. And I sent you the video today. In fact, I was like, that video, it's not that bad. Right. And it was
Yeah.
unscripted. It was just my sensation of day 2 of the challenge. And as I was mentioning, like coordinating this remote video shoot for Nas in New York, it really brought me back to that moment. And so I think that really is going to be my imperative going forward in the new year, signing up for Courtney Johnson's LinkedIn cohort class. I've got to commit to doing a daily video. It doesn't matter about the format. It's just thought of the day, shower moments, thoughts of clarity. Because there was a recent clip by Courtney. She says, look, people will find value in what you say. It's maybe what you have to say isn't valuable to everybody, but continue to put it out there. Get in the habit of putting it out there, and you're going to get better over time. As we were chatting about this mega creator here in Colombia, Luisa Lulu99, who's got over 20 million followers now, she's like 22. Her growth is a direct result of her consistency. So I think that is the key word. It's about
Mhm.
consistency, putting it out there every day, and every day trying to make it, just get it, make it better, basically.
Yeah. So I know that we're getting close to wrapping it up, and there was one thing that I really, really wanted to talk about. So it's this. There's all these myths. When I talk to people, professional people, they always have like this idea of what making money online as a digital creator looks like. How do you deal with that? How do you get over that when you're talking to people and maybe dismiss you altogether because they think of these influencers that we had maybe 10 years ago? How do you? Let's debunk those myths. What is the most common myth that you see out there, and what is the reality when you really look at it?
Well, going back to this gal, Luisa, just for a moment, I was reading up
Mhm.
on her because I've identified her as a potential creator for a campaign we're looking to do with Nas. And in some of my very light research, it turns out she's pulling down like 300 million pesos a month. So almost $80,000 US dollars a month. And so this is a woman that has never had a traditional job in any sense of the word of a traditional job. She's been a YouTuber and has become a full-time content creator, and she's just absolutely slaying it. I mean, to make $80,000 a year as a 20-year-old, pulling her family out of
eighty thousand
poverty
dollars a year or $80,000 a month?
a month, a month,
Wow,
right?
wow.
And it's a result of when you're a mega creator, the AdSense and things of that nature, the creator funds paid out by the platforms pale in comparison to the brand opportunities. Companies will literally hunt you down so that you'll do a video for them, or you'll do some kind of consultation or some kind of collaboration, if you will, a post, whatever. So that's really what it's about. And so I think to answer your question more specifically, what I would say is it's really this changing of the guard, right? Where there was always this notion of like, if you were a doctor or if you were a lawyer, like that was the pinnacle of society. And being an entrepreneur, and Gary Vee's talked about this, it was like, it was never a sexy thing. It was like, you were always like this maverick. You were always like these guys like Steve
Broke.
Jobs and others. You were against
Uh,
the grain, right? You were, as they say in Spanish, contra la corriente, right? You were swimming upstream, and now kids today, they're like, look, I don't want to be an office worker. I don't want to do anything that I'm not passionate about. And so I think that's what it comes down to. People
mhm.
today, young kids today, are crushing it on Amazon. What is it called? Fulfilled by Amazon, drop shipping, ghostwriting, being content creators. And so it's really this shift in the mindset of like, look, you don't have to be an employee in a traditional sense to do well. You're actually better served having multiple income streams, right? So if you look at a guy like Jake Paul or Logan Paul, they've got multiple income streams, and these guys have never held a traditional job. And so I think society is starting to shed this perspective on what success looks like. And I do believe the 9 to 5 job is going to disappear in a rather rapid succession, to be perfectly honest.
So you're talking a lot about kind of the younger generation that's coming up and really changing the way that we look at traditional work. What about the people that are, in their 40s, 50s, 60s? What are the big myths? What are the things that they're thinking about, and what's the actual reality?
Well, I would say, user generated content, for those that don't know what user generated content is, UGC for short, it's basically the ability to create content for brands, companies, individuals to promote their companies, their services, their products, their offerings, because that type of content, even though it's not truly organic, it comes across as organic because it's
Hmm.
amateur by design, if you will, meaning that a person has an iPhone doesn't have a traditional production studio in their house, right? They might have a lamp, they might have lighting, they might have a microphone, but beyond that, that's what they've got.
Right.
And so, user generated content is here to stay. And there's one creator I'd like to give a special shout out to, Robbie Brown. He's a Gen Xer. He basically just launched his own course to teach other Gen Xers and older creators how to make money through UGC, because products and brands and companies and different services need these creators that cater to that older generation, whether it's like
Hmm.
Depends or other kind of health services or products that interest that particular category or cohort of people. They're not going to want to listen to an ad by an 18-year-old up and comer YouTuber who's shouting at them. No, they want to basically look over to my neighbor Joe, who's slanging this particular product to remove the gray in my beard or my hair. And like, oh wow, I never knew that, right? And so they can go to an agency and pay thousands of dollars to have this agency put out this well polished video, but they just want to hear from their neighbor Paul, who Paul yesterday he was a silver fox and today he looks 20 years younger because he used this particular product, right? That's the value. It requires no real prior experience, and as a result you can make money doing UGC video. You can make money, full-time money, if you apply yourself doing just UGC, as one example to make money for people that are 40 and above.
Yeah, yeah. It's really interesting to see every once in a while you see somebody in their 40s or 50s really starting to embrace this digital culture. Gabriel, my boss here at Next Home, Novel Home Loans, he's he's like really embracing it. He does have those moments where he's like, "What's the ROI? Where? How do we measure this in the way that it's building the company or the name brand, or where's the dollars coming in from?" Like, right? But for the most part, I think that the longer that I work with him, he sees the value in what we're doing, and also he knows that our space in mortgage home loans in real estate is moving further and further away from traditional advertising and more into this digital platforms that we see today. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think it's great that you have these advocates, because I think that's really what it comes down to is when you see these older creators. In fact, I've been totally blown away by creators who are in their 60s and above, who obviously had a whole prior life before the internet. They found success as older creators because they're putting out their voice, they're putting out their expertise, they're putting out their knowledge that many youngsters may not have, and they're
Yeah,
educating the masses. They're providing value out there. So I think the
yeah,
key message here is that it's never too late. You
yeah,
can think, oh, I missed the bus. No, I mean, did you miss the crypto bus? Potentially, you can still buy Bitcoin. It's $100,000, but you know what? In a few years, it's going to be $1 million. So did you miss the
yeah,
bus? You
yeah,
just you just didn't buy the ticket as cheap as you could have, right? So
yeah,
I think the same thing with content creation, the same thing with making money online. Get in while you can. Getting in now is good. Getting in tomorrow will still be good, but getting in as early as possible is going to have the best payout. Absolutely.
yeah. And looking where the attention's at right now, we might be on YouTube and YouTube Shorts and talking about LinkedIn, but that's not where we're going to be a year, 2 years, 5 years from now. Who knows what we're going to be there? But because we're here, we're better positioned to be able to pivot wherever this industry might go to. You know,
Well, that's
I
one
know
of the
we're
things. Okay.
No. I was just gonna go back and say, one of the two people that I've been following lately in the last couple of weeks. It's this lady. They're two grandmas. One of them is like constantly smoking and cursing, but she's super, super funny, right? And on the other side of the spectrum, this lady, they call her Nona, is this little Italian, super sweet grandmother that's always like her. I think it's her granddaughter that shows up to eat, and she'll make like 5 pounds worth of food, and she's like, "Oh no, we'll finish it. We'll finish it." And these ladies are probably in their 70s,
Wow.
and I am just tuning into them because one is super vulgar and funny, hilarious, and the other one like just warms my heart. And it just goes to show you that at any age you could be creating impactful content that makes you laugh or resonates or it's educational. It's a great time to be involved in this industry.
Well, that leads me into a point I wanted to address on today's call before we end the show is that are you looking to make money online? Are you looking to learn about content creation? Because Nas Daily is hosting these challenges as of late. It's been the biggest, probably, theme of the year through their Nas.io platform. They use it as a key recruiting tool, meaning that if you participate, and now what they've shortened down into
That's how you got the
5 day
job, right?
challenges. What's that?
That's how you got your job.
Yes, exactly. So they've shortened the challenges from 10 days to 5 days, but there's a new challenge kicking off in 2 days starting December 16th, in which you can become a designer, a producer, or script writer. That by signing up at Nas.io, you can participate in this challenge, in which you'll be given a daily task. You have 24 hours to complete it. And if you basically have the skills and show you have what it takes, if you do win that challenge, you will be offered a job. It's a lot of work, but I'm a success story. I won the producer challenge in October. I started in November. I'm 1 month in, and I can tell you that Nas Daily needs some help. It needs some hands. It needs some creative people out there. So if you think you have what it takes, take a look, Nas.io, sign up for the challenge. It starts in just 2 days. Give it your best, 5 days, and maybe you'll join me at Nas Company.
Right. Yeah. Any other closing thoughts?
No, I think this is a great session, Danny. I'm glad that we're able to connect. I know we're going to do a couple of recordings here because of your trip to New York. And
Yeah.
thanks again for pulling all of the heavy duty with regard to coordinating the editing with Mika and stuff. But this has been a great session. I think we continue to add value to our audience. And so I hope our audience can chime in and comment and let us know what they want to see because really we're trying to target this message to them, right? We're basically sharing
Right.
our story of how we're defining our own paths to make online income, et cetera. So once again, a great session, Danny.
Awesome. Yeah. We'll see everybody next time. Glad we could do this.
Yeah. See you next time.